Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Jared at 3Cs. I'm excited because we just got our first batch of 2025 Beta 300 two-stroke race editions in. Both of them are sold. Look at all these sold signs too as I'm walking backwards here. Pretty cool time to be a Beta dealer. Beta's got some great deals on leftovers, so if you're watching this video somewhat current to when I'm releasing it, there's some great deals on 24s. Not 300 race editions, but just other 24 models in general. But let's head back and look at this all new 2025 300 race edition. So the reason why we're doing this video inside today is we got our first snowfall last night, like 3 or 4 inches of snow, but it is raining extremely hard outside. So usually I'm outside when I'm shooting these videos, but not today. Check this out. This is our 500cc two-stroke build that we did on the channel. So if you're curious about that, that's a KX500 motor and a Beta chassis. We raced it at the 24-hour race. So if you're ever curious about that, check that out on the channel. And what I thought I would do is put a 2024 race edition next to the 2025 so I can kind of go back and forth and compare it a little bit. Now this is a 200, so the motor and all the, the platform, pipe, all that stuff's going to be a little different. But the bodywork and everything else in that area is roughly the same. This is our all new Beta display that we just put in, and everything behind it's kind of a mess, so don't pay attention to that. Trying to get all of our winter stuff out because it is snowing. So anyway, this is the new 2025 300 race edition. Still not in love with the name of the bike. Beta RR Race is what they're calling this model. But they just came out with a Beta RC 450, which is the 450 model stripped down for off-road racing. And that's what I think this bike should be called. They're going to call it the race model. So they're getting a lot of names. They've got, just for example, you have your RS, which is your street legal bike. You have your Cross Trainer, which is your entry level, right there, entry level off-road bike. You have your RX, which is the Motocross version. So it's got a 19-inch rear wheel, way stiffer suspension. And then you have an RR next to the RS here. So this is your, well, this is going away, so I gotta be careful. The RR is a 2024 model being replaced with the RX Pro. And then what does that leave us? It leaves us the race edition, which we've got up in the front there. And then the last one that I don't have any of yet would be the new 450 RC. So Beta's got like 6 different models now. Not sure if they've named them correctly. So this is the race edition model. They've been making the same exact bike for a very long time. So they haven't changed it. They don't want to confuse people. I just wish it was different. Like the race model shouldn't have the headlight, taillight, all this stuff. The RC model is what we're all kind of looking for. But let's jump into this thing. So in the front, it did get a new front caliper. And it's good because the part number of the brake pads didn't change. I was really nervous that it was going to be new brake pads, trying to stock that and keep that in mind, but it's not. It's been the same brake pads from Beta since day one, like 13 years ago. You can see like the mount down here is a little different, a little more machined differently. So I'm not sure if like swapping brake master cylinders is going to work anymore. And you can even see like the banjo bolts are way different looking too, way more carved out on the backside. It does have the KYB forks in the front. You can see the radiator cap is back to the standard style. Now this is also true in the 2024 models. The 2020, I was looking down here, 2023s and older had a different radiator cap and they weren't dented as well. So like you didn't get as much clearance, right? So you had to stop a lot sooner with your turning, and same with the right side. You can see we get a lot more turning radius now with the new radiators, so they continue that. All new mask design, it's more sleek. Let's look at this one real quick. It's like a wider, fatter. You can't see the display at all on this one. It's like actually down like an inch or two. Where this one, you can see the top of the display right there. So that's all in the mask. I don't think the bracket changed behind. It all looked identical when I was setting the bike up. Up on the handlebar, we do have the new map switch. They located it in the middle, which is interesting. I'm not sure that I would enjoy that at night riding. When that's up here, those little LEDs are super bright, kind of poking you in the eyes. Let's check out the old model. This is the 2024 map switch, and it's in the gas tank. And I like the idea of it not being on the gas tank because, whenever I'm removing the gas tank, we have the 2 shroud bolts, the bolt under the seat, you need your fuel line, and then at the very end, you're like trying to rock this gas tank off, and the last thing you're trying to do is hold this map switch. You gotta like disconnect it underneath while you're holding the gas tank back. So glad they moved it away from here. I'm just not sure that I'm in love of putting it in the middle of the handlebar. You know, it's super high right there, and I just think my line of sight is going to catch up on those little LEDs. So no big deal. Just I'd probably move it from there. I do love the new shrouds though. They're really growing on me. These will not work on the old, well, I take that back. I think this gas tank is the same. But you're going to have to buy the whole new middle shroud here. I don't know if I can get the seat off with one hand. Let me try this. These seats are new. I need 2 hands to pop the seat button there. So I think the gas tank is identical. I was kind of looking at all the grooves and everything. I think to get these shrouds, you're going to have to buy the new middle piece because it's being used here and the shrouds, and I really like it. I'm really excited about those. They're durable. They wrap around more. People have always complained about these braking. We never break plastics. Lex, over the weekend, we were at a motocross track. He did shear his fender off, but he cartwheeled the bike off a step up. It was like a 3rd gear step up. So that one broke for good reason. So anyway, shrouds are new. This is all new. I love how they've got this a little bit flatter, easier to put stickers back on the fender, which is nice. What's cool in the shrouds I noticed yesterday is they added this tab on the inside to help hold the shroud in and will keep it from popping out. This one isn't bad, but sometimes you'll find yourself, you can see how that kind of wants to pop out of there. Let's see if there's one down here more. Over here, check this out. See how that's kind of popping out right there? And that's what that tab is going to do. It's going to help keep that in line. It's keeping it sucked in there. So that's pretty cool. They went to a different battery in the race edition this year, and it's usually supposed to sit up a little bit more. So that's the new battery. Now that is the same battery that they were using in the cross trainers. So that's kind of cool. Now what you see back here is the new axle blocks. So it's a dual axle block. You could spin it around if you needed to and spin it to the front. And the axle is bigger. It's a 22, I think it's millimeter axle now. And it's kind of a bummer because yesterday we were trying to put one of these rotor guards on, one that's sold. And I'll put some pictures in here now. We couldn't get the rotor guard to fit, obviously. I didn't even think of it. When you're ordering parts for 25, axle size is different, which affects all those guards in this area. That master cylinder up here is updated, and it's longer. That one used to be like more of a round shape, and the brake switch is down here. So it's a new part number for the brake pedal, and this was a change of last year, just making notes on everything. And this is the new foot peg, which I'm very excited about because I had most people buying a race edition and then they were buying the standard foot pegs to put back on the race edition. So these look like they're going to clean out extremely well. There's no brackets. There's no brackets in the bottom. It's going to be super easy to clean out. Hopefully we're not like spending money to go back to the standard foot pegs. That's not the point. As you can see, we can still do the kickstart kit, which is a beautiful thing. Almost every brand has taken away the kickstart kit option. Beta's left it on there. I think it's super important. Being a carbureted 2-stroke, we could technically take that battery completely out of the bike, set it in the truck, kick this bike, and ride away. So you do not need a battery and a Beta 2-stroke to make it run. That's why we're selling so many Betas, is the simplicity of the carbureted engine. So your oil fill is here for the transmission, and then the drain plug is so simple, it's right there. That's a 13 mil, easy to drain out, easy to put back in. It does have that adjustable power valve, which is awesome. Now race editions have the anodized fill plug, the anodized shifter and foot brake. They do have the anodized red axle blocks. It does have the dual composite rear sprocket. This is that ZF sprocket. It's the dual composite. So we got the steel on the outside, aluminum on the inner. They last forever. And it's a DID chain, O-ring, premium O-ring chain. It's not gonna wear out super fast on you. Airbox comes off just the same. I don't wanna hurt the tabs here. So airbox comes off, the 2 tabs in the front. Air filter is right there, easy to get to. Pull down on the tab, rock it right out. Ooh, this is kind of cool. They got a new boot covering all the electronic stuff here. Well, that's interesting. I've never noticed that before. More of a protective boot on it. Everything looks a little more streamlined too, a little more simpler, which should be much appreciated. It's always good to keep things simple on the electronic side of things. And this has that dual spark plug. So if you look up here, there's the main spark plug. And if we look in the back, there's the second one behind the fuel line there. Hard to kind of see it, poking through the motor mounts there. So the only other motor that got this for 2025 is the 250 Race Edition. So the only 2 motors, they're getting a dual spark plug. The rest of the lineup, all the other 300s are still your standard head. They didn't get that update. This is the carb. Choke is easy. Choke up, choke down. And then you have reserve off, and on. So you have, and I've talked about this in all my other videos, but when you're on reserve, we run all of our race bikes on reserve. You can see RES there. Because when you're in on, the fuel petcock is so tall in here, you will run out of gas about half a tank. So not my favorite petcock setup. I wish they would like shorten the reserve down to about here. Why not? Because it's just reserve. So those are most of the big changes for the 25s. One of the last things we'll talk about is Beta was going to send these electronic keys this year. That was kind of one of their talking points in the press release. And the electronic key was this, like, it had a box that would come up here and sit, and you would like set a tether on it. It's almost like a trials tether, but it was coded to only work with this bike specifically. I didn't see it in the crates. We got 2 of them in, and I hope they don't send them. That's not something that we're looking for. We're not trying to add the magnetic security key to it, because that security key is run off of 2 or 3 AAA batteries that would come down to a packet behind your number plate here. So I'm not interested in that. It's not installed on this bike. We just have our standard controls. We have the high beam, low beam, the horn, the turn signal block here. Now this turn signal block can come off super easy. If you unscrew that Phillips screw in the middle, you're going to slide the bottom of this block off, and it's got its own wire packet. So you can be left with just the top half if you want to. Much cleaner. Not everybody needs these turn signals on the bottom. It's got your normal display on it. I can change it to miles per hour. If you just hold down on this side, it'll change it from km to miles per hour. So that's where we are. Odometer, hour meter, trip meter. This is your standard stuff in the display. And then kill switch start button. So that's kind of the handlebar layout on these race editions. All right, that was a really quick walk around video of the new 2025 300 race edition. Sorry I couldn't run it, couldn't drive it. It is raining pretty hard outside right now. Stay tuned. The 300 race editions are by far our biggest seller in the showroom. I guess cross trainers are up there too. And the 200s are becoming wildly popular. Huge sale prices right now on those too. I got 6 of those here now at the shop. So if you want a 200 race edition, love to work with you on one of those. But stay tuned for more content. We'll obviously have one of these in the fleet with all the guys that race here at the shop. So we'll get some more content when the weather gets better. Enjoy the ride. We'll see you on the trail.